Today we're welcoming a person who built one of the largest and most successful e-commerce players in our region and then turned directly into investing with a really awesome fund who's investing in the companies that other funds are in many cases overlooking. Such a great human being, a great ambassador, not just for the Nordics, but also for Europe. And I'm stoked to having her here in the Northbound pod. Welcome to Sara. Welcome to the Northbound podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And exciting that you're in Copenhagen. What's happening in Copenhagen, by the way?
So we have a few Danish investments, and I'm on the board of one of them. So we're having a board meeting, and I'm having an interview with a potential employee of ours. And I'm meeting you.
Yeah, it's awesome. What type of investments have you done here in Copenhagen? Like specific verticals or industries that you go for?
Not a specific vertical, but the company I'm on the board of is hybrid energy, so it's energy optimization.
Yeah. Okay,
which is a very good way of just making more usage of the energy we already have from the first minute. That's what we like that.
It's insane in Denmark right now because you can't really build a data center or anything in Denmark anymore because we don't have a grid that supports it. So the entire Danish grid is kind of coming to an end, and no innovation is being made because the grid can't deliver on it.
And this is a more interesting topic that I think people think of because it's becoming an issue in the US, and we think that we have just so much of electricity and it's cheap and everything. But it's the public opinion in the US is totally shifting of when it comes to new establishments. Yeah. But we're still celebrating, of course, when someone is coming to a little town up north in Sweden saying we are going to establish a huge data center that takes more than all the households here. And everyone is like, hoo-hoo, they choose us. I just hope it will last, but it won't probably last.
It is one of the, I think, more crazy industries right now. I also sit in the board of an energy company actually, but they move energy around from country to country. But the thing is, across housing and computing for data centers and transportation, the world uses more energy than we produce.
Yeah.
So we don't have the surplus for just using the energy that we're spending across households. So I think that is an industry that's super exciting.
And how is the dependency going for us with fossil fuels?
Yeah.
I mean, we have this backlash of the climate issue. People are like, oh, that problem must be solved because we don't talk about it anymore. But then again, you see what happens if we...
How's the development of renewables in Sweden? Are you doing a lot of windmills? And
I mean, politically, it's been a shift that has been bad for the investments in renewable energy. I mean, they're doing a lot of things to make it more stable, but it's been a little bit of a political shift for last years of... So there's not so many new investments going within that field.
The world is on fire right now with
politics. The world is on fire, but I think that we should it's on fire, and that's why it's a huge opportunity for Europe.
Yeah.
I think it's never been more clear for us that we can't be dependent on things that are crucial for our survival, for building businesses, and I mean we've never been more united. We have the same information. We know this. We want to work together. The European Union is speeding up. And I just think that that's why I'm also happy about this podcast. Because I think that I want to build Europe the Nordic way. I want us to build it the Nordic way and not the American way, which we've seen for so long when it's about like how to be as a founder, how to be as a VC. I'm a little sick and tired of us looking up to the US, and I want us to do it the Nordic way.
Yeah, I think in many ways it should be the other way around, where others are looking up to us, right? Because the Nordic way is a really great model.
Yeah, and what is the Nordic way for you? Like, what if you would describe it?
Yeah, I think it has many aspects. I think the cultural aspect of it, even the Nordic population and the mindset of the Nordic people are somewhat in our favor. Not in every aspect, I would say. We still have there's a bit of Jante still that we're struggling with, a bit about ambition still for some. I think Sweden is maybe a bit ahead of its curve in contrast to Denmark, Norway, and Finland now.
What if Jante is our biggest asset? What if it's also a part of the explanation of us building so big? Because if we as founders don't see ourselves as bigger than everyone else, we will have a much more wider culture and not so much hierarchy. It will make everyone be able to come up with innovation, ideas, and also maybe complaints that are super useful.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I also hear us all the time saying that this is so bad about the Nordics, Jante is bad and everything. I think it's also an explanation of us building big and doing it like I come from the village of IKEA too. And Ingvar Kamprad was one of the first, and he was wearing wooden clothes, like a secondhand clothes, and the snooze was like running out from his mouth. He looked like any grandpa. But at the same time, you knew he had been building something big, but he was like everyone else. And what does that mean for all the thousands and thousands of employees is like, if he, who is like everyone else, can build this big, I can do it too. So I see also the backsides of Jante and things like that, but I think that the lack of hierarchy, seeing yourself as not bigger than everyone else, is also an openness for other people's point of views and ideas, which makes the culture stronger.
I agree to that 100%. And I don't know if it compares with IKEA, but in some ways it does. I think one of my first jobs was working for a Danish fashion company, Bestseller.
Oh, yeah.
And Bestseller's principles is exactly the same.
It is.
Low hierarchy, there's no difference. You can sit and have lunch with the CEO.
Yeah.
It's an awesome company culture. So those were kind of my formative years growing up at my first jobs. And I took that on here in Lunar also and in other businesses where that flat hierarchy and everyone is aligned.
Like a successful strategy also.
Yeah, it works.
Lunar,
it works. So I think it is part of the Nordic trades. But having said that, I also feel like the world has changed with capital, right? And you're a great example of that with the success you've had with your fund. But if you roll that back 10 years ago and you saw a Nordic founder versus an American founder, in many ways, the American founder kind of oversold. We have awesome technology, we can do this and that and so on. And then when you looked under the hood, nah, not really. And then you made a Nordic founder and they were more humble, like, yeah, it's the early days and we don't really know if it works. And then you look under the hood and it's awesome technology. So I think in some years we were maybe just a bit too humble on being confident. And I think there's a few examples in Sweden right now with that confidence coming back, I would say.
Yeah. And also, but it's just when you put it like that, it's like if one of our best traits is to be humble, then we have a problem because that it's inherited in that word, not bragging, not lifting, which is, of course, as long as you're also dependent on the American VC money, you have to have this kind of bold story too. And of course, it's something we need to figure out, right? But we have some, but all of them, like the new ones. I mean, because I was also there, and I know the founders of the last unicorn. The way, like I played poker with them, like all of them, the Klarna founders, the Spotify founders. Yeah. So one part of my story is that when we were raising capital, it's like. Still, the Nordic way, I think, is very much of like everyone should have access to all opportunity, and that's a good thing. But that has not gone to capital. If you don't know the right persons, you're screwed. And which means that if you come from a little town up north and you're a woman, you're just like too far away from the networks. So I figured out I have to get to know the rich people. So I heard about this secret CEO and founder network that I nestled myself into. And of course, I had to, I couldn't suck at poker. So I read like 3 Texas Hold'em books over the weekend, And I came there, and it was, of course, early days for all of these founders of Spotify and Klarna and the like. And there was this one woman who had the same plan. Because she figured out, like, if I want to build big and I need a lot of capital, how can I get to know the capital guys, right? So, and that was Susanne, who I'm now running BackingMinds with. So we
met each other at poker,
at the final table of playing poker. That's true story. That's a true story. And we had like different personalities because I was like the social one, trying to figure out what people were thinking, and she was practically Rain Man. Like she was like counting on
sitting with sunglasses, not giving any expression at all.
Not that bad. Like but she was like counting on possibility. Like she's super smart.
Okay.
So we started to talk about building companies, and we got friends, and we actually also found our first investors at the poker table. Yeah.
Nice.
And we also talked about, of course, the capital industry and the flaws. The advantages and the disadvantages. And we're like, there's so many great ideas, but it's just like a wall between ideas and the capital.
Yeah.
How can we build a capital market where more founders and ideas get, access to capital?
And that was the formative idea for what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that what really is very, like, I think that maybe a little, we don't hide for problems, but we wake up with the opportunity. So, which means that for us, it's like, we saw it as a problem, but more like, that's such a great business opportunity. Yeah. Like, we were so excited because if we could find a way to reach the other ones, we will probably, because they will also very likely be mispriced, right? We could get in at lower valuations, build the companies, give them access to the network, already take in other VCs at a higher valuation. So for us, it was a clear business opportunity too. Even if we had a passion, of course, for the innovation that could come out from
How did you brand that alternative structure of doing like access to capital? Did you go out and do something completely different? Because I would assume that you had to brand yourself differently than traditional VC. Yeah,
at first we were like, we didn't even want to call ourselves with VC, but then I think that we came up with a bold thought of like, maybe this should be the definition of VC. So we started to use that more like in every sentence we said, like, this is the new VC, like, because I think that we are making great returns of the Swedish VC ecosystem. I mean, they're doing a great job, but it's just, it could be even more return and even more growth for Sweden. So I think it's I think for us to brand this, I think what we figured out very early on was that the future entrepreneurs, we figured out that we want to, we have to build another platform for reaching other kind of founders and doing that by, having another social media strategy, having another strategy on how to talk in press, being open, transparent, and also talk about other things than rather financial or technical. Like, there's so many, like me, for instance, I didn't even know what the finance industry was when I grew up. I was just like a hustler, I didn't even know I was an entrepreneur until someone told me when I was 22 that I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. And if we want to reach them, we also have to be like people are. We can't just be like, like Stureplan, as we say, like this kind of Stockholm mentality, talking about like reading from an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So we just decided we want to be something different. We want to, be more approachable. We want to be, to just lower the entry level for.
What's the type of founders that are appealed to that then? Is it a specific set of founders, or is it just broad appeal when you do?
I think that what is like when we talk to founders, they already know about us and what we stand for, which gives us a huge deal flow, and it also makes us preferred once they're competition because they already know us and how founder friendly we are, how we talk also about other values than just like we want to. I think that if you really, really want to build big, you should also figure out how you can for real make yourself last. Like, you would never hear me or someone else at BackingMinds saying things like other VCs saying like, we show up at 8 o'clock in the evening and make sure to see everyone in the office still because we want them to work 24/7. And we're like, wow, that can't be a very effective organization if everyone has to sit there the whole.
You're not a 996 supporter then.
Are you?
I think it's difficult. But you and I spoke about it also. We both have a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
So
four each, 2 boys, 2 girls.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The same age.
Yeah.
Same spouse.
Same spouse.
We have it all figured out.
Yeah, right. It's but look, I don't know how you feel, but sometimes when I look back, it's difficult to fathom how we made it through all of building businesses and having children.
Yeah.
Well, how did you do it?
I think that how I did it was that I have a husband who loves being a parent as much as I do, which is not something you can take for granted. He's also been building businesses, so we have the same ambition. And for us, it's like you're not the whole universe, which is a super good thing. And then you can use it to like have lower down your ambitions, or you can use it to speed up the impact you have. So both of us were like, we really want to make this world bigger, even more, right? And then you have to work really hard. So for us, it's like it became much more important for me to do something that would last and for the next generation, and maybe not only selling shoes, which is not bad. Like all entrepreneurship is beautiful, but it's just like so for that I'm waking. For me, it doesn't feel like a job, but at the same time, some of my best ideas and the best things that has happened is when it was less stressful. So it's like it's a little bit glorifying, like in a Chinese way of like, if you just work 996, you'll be so effective. But I also think that you have to talk. For me, it's like when sometimes, we spend sometimes in panels with other founders and you hear them like, maybe it's a young audience and like, you have to be ready to work all weekends, Christmas, vacation, never seeing family, never seeing friends. I'm like, they don't want competition. They don't want anyone to start a business because this is young people. Maybe they just fell in love. Like, it is true because you are working hard. But I just want us to see, but we don't want this stämpelklocka back.
No.
We want output to count. We want result to count. And with AI, we can do it even more. Productivity is something completely different with AI. And if we don't want to give time back to our employees, but rather like, you should work 996, and then we'll make sure AI replaces you. That's the sentiment, and I just want to, we want to build big. We want to build the Nordics. We have to work hard, but for once, it's a difference of being the founder and the owner, and for someone being an employee, you have to understand the difference. And it may be the difference in passion, right? And also, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I mean, sometimes I work 24/7 for several days in a row, like not sleeping, and it's just so much fun and energy. And then, of course, I also have to rest.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're doing the society a favor if we just like tell young people, like, forget about Christmas. You will never see your grandma again.
No, you never see your friends. But I think there's also a bunch of different role models right now, because I think to your point, you see it a lot in younger founders.
Yeah.
That they are more under the 996, let's just crush it, sleep at the office.
Yeah.
And then you have other experienced founders who's maybe striking a better balance.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I was awful at striking that balance myself in the first formative years.
To be honest, I didn't know why I would go home. Like when I was younger, I was like, why would I go home?
Yeah.
I might as well just, Yeah. So I, we all have different.
But there's also an ambition in building a healthy work environment where you can be appealing as a workplace to great colleagues and, create an awesome company culture. I think that's part of the Nordic model also, that is a bit more balanced than if you were working.
And also, I mean, like attracting someone like you. What would make you? That's something I think that I said the other week on LinkedIn, like there's a huge opportunity for employer branding now, because if everyone else is saying 996, it's very easy to say, but hey, we are looking for people and we're only
12 to 2, 3 days a week.
It's just like, also having the guts to be differently. And also I think that we're still dependent on American VC, and it's a lot of that coming out from leaders over there, and maybe we should talk about that a little bit, because I don't know, what do you feel lately? Like when we were starting our first companies, it was just like so much to look up to. In the US, like, do you remember that? Like the Googles, like, don't be evil. It was the sentiment of that time. Yeah. And now all of a sudden you can hear like people like Peter Thiel, like can't even answering straight on. He wants humanity to endure. Like even if that's cut out, it's just like, something is happening with empathy, something is happening with the belief in democracies, things like that, that maybe it's also a trigger for us to like, we need new role models. We need more Kens.
Yeah.
We need more like, and I think that Anton and a lot of the other young ones in Sweden have a complete different leadership, and that's a really good thing. We should not make them, have to move to the US with the companies, with their employees and everything. We should give them the chance here.
Yeah,
I think. What's your view on this?
Yeah, I agree, but I think some of the Swedish AI founders, when you look at their LinkedIn content, seems like they are working close to
the ChatGPT written content. You mean?
Yeah, but I think they are probably more doing the 996 actually that they would.
Yeah.
So
and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the 996 now. I'm talking about some other leadership traits.
Yeah.
I think that you have to be ready to work hard. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think to your point about being a founder also, like when we launched the first business, probably the same time as you did, right? The inspiration was the US. You couldn't think of like, Europe probably only had a handful of really cool tech companies. Now there's so much inspiration in Europe. awesome inspiration in Sweden amongst the
Yeah.
new wave of company, but also this like one of the first waves with Spotify and Klarna and King
Yeah.
and everyone, right? So I think
Exactly.
the inspiration is changing massively. Where you can see, look, you can create a €1 billion business in Stockholm or in Copenhagen or in wherever you want to do it, because the world's just changed so much.
Yeah. And we have to make sure they get capital enough, because, I mean, there are great initiatives, but we just need so much more capital here.
Yeah.
We should use our pension funds more wisely. I mean, at the same time, every politician in Sweden is saying like we have to, become more independent. We are going to build European companies. It's less capital than ever for VCs, which will be such a huge problem in 5 years for innovations, for companies starting.
And why is that? Well, where's the holdup in capital?
No, so what's happened was that we had this like glory days of 21, right? Like money was practically
I lived
free.
through them.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah,
I was like super pregnant, and I can just like raise in 3 weeks.
Money is free. Send us your slides, and here's the term sheet.
Exactly.
I recall we had some investors who said, if you're hiring one, it's better to hire 3, so you're ready for the growth also.
Oh yeah, you see, yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that too. Like you have to. No, but no. So what happened is, of course, the economy slowed down, and there were no distributions. So a lot of LPs now, they have lacked in distributions for many years. So they have to wait until they let in new funds and fill up new funds and things. And that we see that statistically. So this year, I think that so far 32 European funds have closed in 2026. In 2022, I think it was 679. So it's like a slaughter. It's like, and that's not. So at the same time, we will build Europe. We're so united. We're doing this. The lack of capital is so big, and I mean, that's we have to do something about it.
But it feels like the capital is there. It's just not being deployed, right? Because we have pension funds. There's an oil fund in Norway, but those guys are mainly deploying in American companies and
we have to talk about that. I met the responsible for bank's investments, and this person was pretty much like, why would I invest in? They're still like very American focused, and I want them as a customer also in that bank. I was like, I want you to become better. I want to hear that you are like, building Europe right now. So I think that there's and I totally agree. The capital is there. We have so much money. I mean, the new billionaires just coming out of Sweden, like 500, 600, it's just crazy much money. And they're definitely, a lot of them are building the second generation now. Yeah. I really like what I'm seeing. And that was actually the same for me. Like when I started a company, let's call this the Nordic way. I think it is, because the way the founders help each other is just remarkable. So I started Footway, and I had gotten to know one of the founders of Spotify, Martin, and he was so supportive. He even sent mystery shoppers to try our store and send feedback.
That's an awesome help.
That's so cool, and I see examples of that all the time. And now, of course, the first generation of unicorn, or maybe not the first, but like the last generation. There, of course, I want them to pour their money in the next generation. I want them to build their legacy. I want them to just don't sit on the money. Now's the chance.
But it feels like Sweden has an edge on Denmark in that comparison, because I know a bunch of really great Danish founders also who's super supportive. I think every founder is supportive by nature.
Yeah.
For even if you're in competitive angles or industries, you're still supportive because you want to grow your community and your peer group, right? But I can probably only count like a couple of handfuls of Danish pioneers who's re-engaging and reinvesting.
Why is that?
I don't know. There's and I think when looking back, it feels like there's a bunch of Danish entrepreneurs who sold their business.
Yeah.
And then just left it at that.
Oh, really?
I sold it. I'm done. There's the money. Now I can relax and have a great life.
How can we make them become more like you? Like they're still wanting to build the next generation, build something better for the future. Like, how do we get that spark?
Yeah, I think the newer generation is more into that also. Yeah. But look again, if you compare Denmark with Sweden, Denmark has never really had a tradition for building businesses of the size and magnitude that you guys did in Sweden. So in Denmark, it used to be like a Danish path was when you got to a point in time in your business, you either sold it at the first buyer, you sold your business and took home your money, or you moved out of Denmark. So into the UK, into the US, and suddenly you were an American business or a British business. So we didn't really have the same tradition of staying home as Spotify did and Klarna did and a few others did.
And that's lack of amount of VCs. You didn't have that many to pick
So
it up.
again, you had a few business angels or local investors, and suddenly there's someone waving a couple of €100 million in front of you, and that's go for it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You'll never get that chance again. Where you see now that founders also in Denmark here are just continuing to be more ambitious, to do more, and at the same time as they build business, they also have somewhat of an appetite for then engaging in others. So I see a lot of founders, both in Denmark and Sweden right now, they are still operators, they are still raising money, building businesses, but at the same time in that journey, deploying in other businesses and helping out in other businesses.
Great.
And not just waiting. So every time I read an article in Break It or Dark Industry in Sweden, there's a new AI company, and then I see that half of the investors in that new AI company is from the other AI companies in Sweden.
They're just like investing in each other.
So I think something is happening right now that's cool to follow.
Yeah, and the thing is, like we talked about that before here, like we both of us, we really believe in the Nordics. We would love for us to have the same language. We've both tried. You've gone to Dagens Industry speaking Danish. I went to Börsen speaking Swedish, and I didn't even understand what I was saying myself. So we tried that, and then again, I think it's also like it's a little cute actually, because we also love to emphasize the differences between us. But if you look at all research of social psychology and everything, we are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
We have some small differences. And I mean, we're so close, we even make jokes about each other. Like every Swede knows that when like this Danish joke of like, how do you keep Copenhagen clean? Help a Swede to the shore. You know, it's just like, I think that we should not forget about this brother and sisterhood of our Nordic countries, because I think that's a strength. And that's why I also want to challenge, like, I think that it is within every Dane to build as big. And I think that we should not be building our different ecosystems, like Copenhagen having one, Stockholm one. I think we should be the same.
Yeah.
It should be one hub. And I must say, one of my biggest disappointments in life, because I come from southern parts of Sweden, and I was like a kid when the Öresundståg started to go, and I was like, the Öresunds region, like it's becoming the biggest.
As one city now, Copenhagen and Malmö.
Yeah, and I believed in that until like a few years back when I went to the tech in ecosystem of Malmö. Like, there's no exchange. It's like no VCs from Malmö going like. That's like so easy to change. Yeah. Is this podcast a start for just, can Malmö and Copenhagen be one?
Yeah, at a minimum, start speaking together.
No, man, exactly. But exactly. So I was like, I think that we should also. I think it's not. I mean, this podcast is a great example. I think we have a great opportunity, but also like we should not exaggerate our differences. Like it's like we just talk about each other like we are like from different planets. But I think that we have more in common than we think. And I think that that's why we can also build together and inspire each other and have more ecosystem just shared.
I also love the friendly banter between the countries and the Nordic region, because we love each other, but we also really great at mocking each other.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, do you make the same jokes about the Norwegians? Like, no, maybe we should not say that.
You tried.
No, but it's just for us. I mean, like Danes, you're making a lot of jokes of us being just like super strict at home and then go here and drink very much and puke.
I would never think like that about anyone from Sweden.
No, it's because I was the one taking the boat when I was young and filled a bag with alcohol and went home. So
I figured out, I think one of my first learnings in a business context in Sweden is that as a Dane, please put your irony and sarcasm back at home until you engage with anyone in a business context. Yeah, I've had my first share of challenges.
Really? Isn't that a Swedish thing too?
I think Swedes think like that.
Maybe I'm stepping on so much toes. Every day I'm just.
I don't know. I think, but I might be.
Even you, I saw that you got a little embarrassed when I told a joke about Swedes. Like, no, we would never say that. I'm like, that's a funny thing.
No, we had an episode here where one of the former guests, he spoke about a quadrant of 4, from Swedes, Danes, Norwegians, and Finnish people. Where it said, and it's polite and funny.
All right.
Where Danes are funny but not polite.
Okay.
Norwegians are funny and polite. Swedes are polite but not funny, and Finns are neither funny or polite. So
that's so much fun. That's crazy.
It's probably something to.
Oh yeah, but it's just no. It's that's.
But it is. Look, I think we are really close to each other.
Yeah.
Which is, and I've been an advocate for the last, I think, couple of years for the region to come together just a bit more. And also back to your point early on, instead of doing something that's just Stockholm focused or just Copenhagen focused, try to embrace each other a bit more. I think the Nordic communities has been really great at branding stuff as Nordic. So there's a Nordic this and there's a Nordic that. But then when you look under the hood, it's a Danish thing, it's a Swedish thing.
Which is such a...
I think now I can see that there's starting to be a bit of movement from angel investments coming from Stockholm to Copenhagen and the other way around. And conferences are now moving around also.
I think it's really good.
Tech Arena is coming down here and, conferences are moving across. Brilliant Minds was in Copenhagen as well, so it does feel like...
that's a really good thing.
Yeah, you're here as well, right?
Yeah, and so we are just here to invest, and we are looking at different... as long as it's very scalable, we're interested.
Yeah.
And for us, it doesn't matter if you've built a company before. It can be an advantage, but it's not nothing we demand. So, and we work differently. And right now everyone is like Gen Z, everything should be Gen Z. But I'm also I want to say something, and it's, not because you and me are getting old. I'm probably much older than you. But it's also one thing of knowing the workflows, knowing the processes that can be an advantage when you build companies.
Yeah.
So I really love the Gen Z with ambition, and then maybe like the great naivety, because it's also good to be a little naive and just
it works in your favor when you're building.
Perfect. But also and when NASA is sending 5 guys up to space, they're in the 50s.
Yeah.
So it's just like we have to. There's a lot of amazing founders out there from all generations.
I just read on a LinkedIn post from a friend of mine who founded businesses in the past that he's going at it again.
Yeah.
He's starting from scratch. He's 52.
Yeah. And
he's owning up to it. So in his post, he's like, I'm 52 and I'm back in building.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. And we're also living for like 30 years longer or something. 20, 30. We have so much more to give.
Yeah.
Now I sound so old. I've got so much more to...
I think we're probably the same age, to be honest. But look, so you're doing a bunch of investment now, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever miss being an operator, like a business operator? I know you are operating your investment vehicle, but being down in the grunt work of building a...
When you're that too much, you're a bad investor. It was a path for us to take our fingers out of the cookie jar, if you know what I mean, because we came from it ourselves. So what my most important task is to build a self-sufficient operational team. To your question, I miss it, but I get it so much. It's just like I'm doing it in multiple. I think we have 19 active. We've sold 6 companies, but we still have 19 active companies. So for me, it's like 19 companies at the same time just running. And once I want to get deep, like last week, I was like, you can get as deep as you want. If they trust you, you can also be there and strategically at least. It's like, so I think that I get so much out of building in my way of being investor. And also, so like I love it. And it's just like every morning, when it just feels like the world is on fire, as you say, it's like I have the best job in the world because every founder that I work with has such a great and positive outlook of the future. So I think that I get so much back.
I envy that with investors. I think that's an awesome skill because I don't think I would ever be able to act as a great investor.
You don't think?
Because I have so many thoughts and opinion about how to do stuff and when to do it. So maybe it's just something that you have to your own point, kind of
you have to learn.
Squeeze out and learn it.
I was pretty bad in the beginning because it's just like the best thing you can do as an investor is maybe plant the seed and then it comes from within and rather than pushing it. So it's a way of working that you just have to learn. But I can see myself in the first years being too much into detail because I knew how it was. But
do you ever have conflicts where founders are sitting in front of you and saying, we want to go left, we know it's left, and you know it's right, and by your experience you know the path is right, but they're sticking to left? You're like,
that happens all the time. But being founder friendly is actually thinking about the best for the company. And sometimes it's just like, it is a little bit more long-term than they are. So maybe you will let them make their own decisions, but it's not supposed to be a very comfortable job every day. It's not preventing to say important stuff. At least you want to have it said so they can think about it. So I think that it's also being founder friendly is not doing exactly what the founder, like agreeing to everything the founder says. It's being long term and helping them to be more long term than. Yeah. Building a company, as you know, it's like if it works for every decision you should make, you should think like this. Like if it works when we have a billion in revenue and 2,000 employees, it's a good strategy. Yeah. But most of the decisions are not. Like early on in your journey, right? It just seems very easy to do a little bit different there and there and there, but be super simple and prioritize super hard with a customer focus works for almost all industries, right?
There's a bunch of advocates now for the Nordics and Europe as a whole. There's communities coming together, founders investing across. What should we do more of? Like what like let's just accelerate things, but what should we do in your opinion? Yeah,
definitely cross-invest, reach out, like everything, just see ourselves as one ecosystem. And also like now taking the stafettpinne, what you say, like taking this role, like leading role in Europe. Because we have something great going on here. And also like together from all the different Nordic countries, like expertise and experiences from a lot of different industries that we can also teach to the rest of Europe. So I think I want to see us more in the leading position of Europe now when we grow it. And I want us to do that together.
What about the capital side of things? How do we unlock pension funds and more opportunities?
That has to be political will. Yeah. What's so weird is that I think that it's too much of a risk to put the pension funds here. But when you look at it over time, pension and savers like ourselves have actually lost of not being there. So that's a myth. It has to be busted. And then, of course, the whole of European Union needs this pension system. It's only us and the Netherlands, I think, that has it. So we have to unlock much more private capital in the European Union. One way of doing it is the ISK that we all are now exporting. So like different financial ways, pension funds, new ways of private, like small investors to invest in this. Yeah. So I think that I love the thought of the European Inc. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome initiative.
Yeah.
But I think many of those initiatives and also just the communities in the Nordics doing a great job and people and founders are coming together.
Yeah.
One thing I think we lack is political support. I think there's more political support and engagement in Sweden than in any other Nordic country. There is a total absence of political support in Denmark. And I think most likely Norway as well, where you've seen kind of the warehouse taxes and everyone fled Norway. We just had an election in Denmark. No one spoke of the Nordics or of technology or of Denmark's position in only the legacy industries that we have. So I am somewhat jealous when I'm looking into the political engagement in Sweden.
And that surprises me because it's just like so natural. I mean, if you're a politician and your responsibilities are, of course, the economy, workforce, like everything that you are responsible of is attached to growing companies.
Yeah.
So if you haven't embraced that, it's like I don't know about Denmark, but we also need new kinds of politicians that have grown. Like it would have been awesome if a person like you could also be in the politics for a while and go out to actually.
We had someone in Denmark who tried. He went in for like a year and a half, and then he's like, not anymore. So
because I think that I've heard that in Sweden they're tiring them out because they choose that career path like 20 years ago, and they don't want competition. But
political by design.
Yeah. So I think that's but I mean. I think that if you want politicians to talk about it, you have to drive public support. You can also work in other ways of like informing people on how important it is with, entrepreneurship and building companies, like helping people understand how. Because in Sweden, I think that not too many people think they're part of what we call näringslivet, but everyone is because of their jobs. So it's like. My mission in life is to make this folkligt. How do you say that in English?
Yeah, it's the same in Danish in a way. So I think everyone will understand it.
It's like I think that that's a really important thing for us to how can we make entrepreneurship folkligt? Like everyone knows how to sell things. It's what it is, right?
Would be cool if you had access to like private investments early on.
Yeah. One thing, do you have UF in Denmark? Like you can try to start a company in school?
Not exactly the same, no.
Because that's a great thing. I think we have 1 million that has done that.
Yeah.
And the greatest predictor for someone starting a company is that person has already done it.
Yeah.
So if you try it just like casually in school, that's like, and it's so cheap. It's like all municipalities in the Nordics should do this.
Yeah.
It's just a principal and like the boss of the municipality, kommunalråd, that make the decision. They send out a package. It's 2 teachers, it's a principal, and that's it. Yeah. Then they can have it as a subject. They can start a real company. They're selling things with it, like for awesome. Real. And then they have tried it because it's so much easier than people think. So
entrepreneurship is not that big part of the Danish school system.
But you can change that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. We can change that.
So I'm taking notes. It's a tech community. It's re-engaging on investments.
Starting early on.
Political support, starting early in the school system. So when you and I chat the next time, let's reevaluate if things have moved in a positive direction for both the Nordics and Europe. Let's have a look. It was such a pleasure having you here.
Great.
Also in Denmark. I think I speak on behalf of the tech community saying we would like to see you more. And
I'll be here more.
Some more Danish investments, hopefully.
Tomorrow, if I can wish.
We're looking forward, but really appreciate you coming over. So thank you very much.
Great chat. Thank you.